Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today, because we are tackling a really fascinating and, honestly, absolutely crucial paradigm shift. We're going to explore the nuts and bolts of engaging community action. Specifically, we're looking at how entire communities process and react to really difficult local realities. What actually happens when a town shifts its collective mindset from questioning if a problem even exists to simply acknowledging when it happens? Well, it's a journey from total stagnation to full-on mobilization, and it's all laid out in a brilliantly structured framework that we are going to unpack together right now.
Take a second and just sit with this question. Is human trafficking a local problem? When you hear that, what's your gut reaction? Does it feel like something that happens in some far-off place, or something happening right next door? This exact question represents the initial, often massive hurdle of local denial that communities face. It's this cautious, doubtful inquiry. And look, it's just human nature to want to believe that severe issues simply don't happen in our own backyards, right? But as you'll see, staying stuck on this specific question, it can actually paralyze an entire community.
So to understand this, we're going to use an incredible visual roadmap for our explainer today. This comprehensive layout outlines the core theme of engaging community action, and it's directly inspired by the 2015 dissertation of Dr. Lara Vanderhoof. Through this one powerful framework, we can actually trace the complete psychological and organizational journey a community has to take. We'll be breaking this down step by step. We're starting from the gloomy hesitation of denial, traveling across a bridge built on research, and finally arriving at a vibrant, fully active community.
Section 1. The Trap of Local Denial. Think about the critical first phase that so many neighborhoods find themselves trapped in. It's a phase defined not by action, but by just severe stagnation. Notice how this feels visually. It's all muted grays and gloomy blues. The cityscape feels distant, kind of shrouded in fog. But the most important part? Those physical barricades right up front. The construction barriers with that big orange plank across them. This perfectly captures the roadblock of local denial. When a community only asks if a problem like human trafficking exists, they are literally erecting these barricades themselves. They're stopping any meaningful exploration or solutions from getting through. And staying in this if mindset traps everyone in a perpetual cycle of confusion. You've got figures standing behind those barriers, right? But they just have large question marks floating above their heads. They're physically separated from each other, looking away, just standing there passively. There's zero collaboration, no forward momentum, just isolating doubt. That's the real danger of the if mindset. It breeds stagnation because, well, as long as the existence of a problem is still up for debate, nobody is going to mobilize time, energy, or resources to actually fix it.
Section 2. Shifting the narrative.
But here's the good news. Communities do not have to stay stuck behind those gray barricades. A shift is absolutely possible, and frankly, it's necessary. The breakthrough comes through focused research and education. Think of it like a bridge, a sweeping catalyst right in the center of it all. Dr. Vanderhoof's work emphasizes that applied research, education, and guided open discussions are the very tools that push communities out of that fog of denial. The research provides the undeniable facts needed to basically dismantle those orange and white barricades, propelling the whole community forward. So this brings us to a massive conceptual pivot. It's a real game changer. On one side, you have the struggle of overcoming local denial, a mindset entirely rooted in the word if. On the other side, you have the recognition of local realities, which is firmly rooted in the word when. Now, this isn't just a clever change in vocabulary, it is a fundamental transformation in community psychology. Moving from if to when means abandoning denial. It means accepting reality. It means looking at complex issues like human trafficking, not as distant, abstract concepts, but as present realities that demand immediate, localized attention.
Section 3. Recognizing local realities.
Once you cross that bridge, you find yourself in an entirely different environment. The community has accepted the reality of the situation. The whole tone completely transforms. This is where a community stops wondering and starts preparing. Instead of that passive, doubtful questioning we started with, the community now asks a new, empowering question. When and how does it impact our environment? You see the shift in power there? This question assumes the reality of the issue. It's proactive. It demands a localized inquiry, forcing everyone to look closely at their own streets, their own businesses, to see how the issue actually manifests locally.
And the result of that proactive mindset is brilliantly clear. The fog totally lifts. Suddenly, you have a bright yellow sun shining over colorful buildings, vibrant teals, oranges, greens. It's warm and inviting. The contrast is striking, isn't it? It tells us that recognizing harsh local realities doesn't cast a dark cloud over a community. Actually, the clarity of truth brings light. A community that faces its realities head-on is healthier, it's more vibrant, and it's for sure more capable of protecting itself than one just hiding in the gray shadows of denial.
Section 4. Moving towards community action.
Okay, so now the community is awake and aware. But what comes next? Because awareness alone, that's not the final destination. Once you've embraced the when mindset, the inevitable next step is coordinated action. It is a definitive mandate. Communities must move towards action. Dr. Vanderhoof's work makes it abundantly clear that research and awareness aren't just theoretical exercises to make us feel better. They're a literal call to mobilize. Acknowledging the problem is just the prerequisite. Taking concrete steps to address it is the actual goal. So let's break down what this actually looks like in the real world. Think of this as a concrete checklist for local organizers and everyday citizens. First, it involves actively investigating realities, grabbing a magnifying glass, so to speak, and looking closely at local vulnerabilities. Second, action has to be targeted. It's about dropping map pins on specific locations to secure them. Third, there needs to be vigilant protection, like a shield keeping a watchful eye over the community's most vulnerable members. And finally, it requires connection. Individuals using their laptops, building networks, sharing research, and communicating across different sectors. This is the whole shebang. These are the tangible, everyday behaviors of a community truly in action.
When we step back and look at this entire journey, it really is profound. We went from a place of complete gray stagnation, blocked by barricades, paralyzed by the word if, to a place of dynamic, colorful action where citizens are connected, vigilant, and proactively asking when and how. This shift is absolutely essential for confronting any difficult local issue, but especially something as hidden and complex as human trafficking, because at the end of the day, you simply cannot fight what you refuse to acknowledge.
Which brings us to the most important point of all, how this actually applies to you. Based on the framework we just unpacked, I want to leave you with a final thought to really chew on. Take a hard look at your own neighborhood, your own town, your own circles. Is your community currently stuck behind those gray barricades, completely paralyzed by the word if? Or have you crossed that bridge of awareness? Are you actively preparing, researching, and networking for when? Because honestly, the answer to that question makes all the difference in the world. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.